Hey guys, this is one of those sort of unscripted videos that in which I just look at the camera and just keep talking. Recently I finally pulled the trigger on buying an Asus TUF A15. I have been researching from maybe a year before finally making the decision to buy it. There has been a lot of negative sentiments and comments in the user space about that Asus TUF A15 is not a very good choice. So I finally thought that I should throw some light on what are my views on what are those negative points and whether you should care about them or not. So let's get started. So in this video, we are not going to talk about all the Asus TUF related specs and that it has an RGB keyboard or it has an Armory Crate software, and we are not going to touch upon that. We are only going to touch upon all the major points that that affect your buying decision while considering A15. Here are some pointers. So I have divided this into 5 points: the raw specs offered, the display, thermals, price, and what the competition is going to offer. Let's start with the raw specs. So the variant I chose was the Ryzen 4600H plus GTX 1650, not the TI version, in the black color. Let's talk first about the Ryzen 4600. The AMD 4000 series are one great series of laptop chips that AMD has to offer. Now, when you compare it with them to Intel, like the Intel 10300H or Intel 10750H, a Ryzen 5 4600H beats even the Intel i7 10750H. I'll just throw around some performance benchmark numbers so you can consider them. A chip which is 4600H costing in a laptop that is around 60,000 beats the chip that is in a laptop which is worth around 80,000 plus or even closer to 1 lakh. I'm talking about the Legion 5i. Legion 5i has the Intel i7 10750H. Ryzen 5 4600H beats even that. AMD has done a really great job in making these mobile processors and even now the desktop performance chips. So next point, 1650. I know it's an entry-level GPU and the performance is adequate at best, but the TUF A15 has the GDDR6 model, and if you compare it to the 1650 Ti, the performance difference is like roughly what, on an average 6 to 7%. And when talking about the A15, that if the difference between the variants of the 1650 and the 1650 Ti, the difference is about like 7,000 Indian rupees, and honestly I don't think that paying 7,000 more for just the Ti version of the 1650 is worth it. I really don't think it is worth it. And also the NVMe SSDs and all are a really good performance enhancement over the normal SATA SSDs, and even the spinning hard drives that some laptops have to offer in about 55k even to this day. I'm talking about the HP Pavilion, one of those variants. This is strange. And 2020, you should never buy a laptop, especially that is expensive, like even 40k plus ones, with a spinning hard drive. It's like really outdated and drastically changes your performance if you switch to an SSD. So now the next 2 points that are the really biggest talking points about the A15 are the display and the thermals. First, let's pick up the display. So everyone is saying that it has a 45% NTSC display. So what, have you looked at the competition? HP Pavilion Gaming, Lenovo IdeaPad, Acer Nitro 5, even the HP Omen, which commands like 15 to 18,000 rupees price premium over the A15. These all have 45% NTSC displays, 63 to 66% RGB, sRGB, and like 45 to 48% Adobe RGB. Like these all have bad displays. Like I don't understand that why companies are skimping on the displays. The only exception was the Legion Wi-Fi 40, which had a comparatively better display. All the following laptops that I mentioned had a bad display, 45% NTSC, and frankly speaking, it shouldn't even matter that much. If you are just going to do productive work, gaming, and coding related tasks, and even watching movies should be fine. The only people that will find it really bad for their workload would be creative professionals that do a lot of color grading work, which need accurate displays to better perform their jobs. Those should be the ones that should actually look away from this model, or just consider investing in a external monitor. And also talking about the Omen, it has 60 Hz display. This one has 144 Hz display. I don't understand why are we even paying the 18,000 to 20,000 rupees price premium for the Omen. I used it in a shop that I visited, and it didn't feel a lot special or premium. Frankly speaking, IdeaPad had the better keyboard than the Omen, so I don't understand why HP is charging that much for the Omen series. It has virtually the same specs, even the same display, only the thermals are better. Still, they are charging so much. I don't know. Now, talking about the thermals, you must have heard that they are really bad and affect the performance of this laptop. And even Tim from Hardware Unboxed used a Dremel to cut holes in the back of his machine so as to improve the airflow. And he improved the thermal cooling of the machine a little bit. And Eber from Hardware Canucks didn't have any problems. But the thing is that they all had a higher configuration variant, like the 4800H, which has a higher TDP, and the 1660 Ti, which consumed a lot more power than a 1650. The initial reviews on Amazon have stated that the thermals are somewhat of a very little problem when it comes to A15. One solution to that is that you can use the Ryzen controller and limit the TDP of the processor a little, and you may feel a slight difference of up to a 4 to 5% performance difference, but the thermals seem to improve a lot while using that. So at the price point that I'm paying, and I tinker with my electronics a lot, I am willing to make that trade. So Ryzen controller for the go, it seems. There are some laptops which have better thermals than the A15. For example, the Nitro 5, the Ryzen 4001 variant, which is for some reason not yet launched in India, and the Omen 15. These have a little better thermals than the A15. I've seen a ton of videos from Jared and from Hardware Unboxed regarding these laptops. So the most difference, if you compare them at performance modes and at full load synthetic loads at GPU and CPU, the most performance difference is 4 to 5 degrees at CPU and 3-4 degrees at GPU. At maximum 7 to 8 degrees of thermal temperatures. But these laptops are a lot pricier than the A15, around 10k or even 15,000 Indian rupees in India. So for the price point that I'm paying, I'm fine with it. Now, the final point, talking about the price point and the competition. You can get the cheapest A15 for around 61,000 in India. What you can get in 61,000 rupees in India at this date? i5 9300H with 1650, or compared to an year back, some old models that are still in stock for Ryzen 3550H, the older Asus TUF laptops. So even at this price point, at below 60,000 or at around 60,000, we are still getting Intel 9300H laptops, which literally have 50% of the performance when compared to Ryzen 4600H. And the new laptops from Intel, the 10300H ones, for some reason have a price premium of 10 to 15,000 rupees. And as I earlier said in the video, even the 4600H like beats Intel 10300H by miles ahead, and even beats the Intel 10750H, which is an i7 processor. At the price point, you are getting nothing like this. And if you switch to our consider Intel, you'll get the 9300H ones, which should be fine for gaming, but my primary workload is productivity tasks. So I need a laptop which doesn't slow down even after 4 to 5 years. Like I used my laptops for a really long time. If we are getting a 4600H in this price point, in the same price point in which we are getting 9300H, why would I choose them? There is no reason for me to choose 9300H over 4600H. So these were all the reasons or points that I could talk to you about. I know this video has been very long. So if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and if you have any questions please ask in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer them. You can see our past videos. We try to answer almost 100% of the comments that we get. So also join our Telegram if you want to meet people which are so enthusiastic about tech like we are and you might be. So thanks for watching.